Hello YouTube, George from Medusa Herbs here, back with another video. It's the end of the year, actually January, so I figured it'd be a good time to do a one-year review, kind of look back and see how things have been going with my first year of keeping snakes after being out of the hobby for 20 plus years. So quite a few things to cover here, so we're going to jump right in and talk about lessons learned. First thing I'd like to say is before you decide to get back into snakes or start keeping snakes, is make sure that you have a vet who is somewhat experienced with exotic animals, specifically the type of animal you're wanting to keep, whether it be a snake, a lizard, a turtle, whatever, and that vet is nearby. I've seen some people on YouTube over the past year who post that they have to take their animal 4 or 6 hours away to get to a reputable vet. Now I understand that in some rare, unusual circumstances of things that may be going on with your animal, that may be necessary. But generally speaking, you want to have somebody close by who has at least some experience with the type of animal you're keeping. In my instance, the vet themselves does not have a lot of experience with snakes, but one of the techs in the facility does keep reptiles. So she's got some additional knowledge that she can pass on to the vet. I've only had to go over there one time for a checkup and a couple times for some laboratory work, but they are very close by. I mean, less than 10 minutes from me. So that's definitely a big positive before you get back into keeping animals. The second thing I'd like to mention is time. Make sure you have enough time and that you are investing it well with your animals. I can remember back when I first got my first shipment of snakes from Morph Market that I purchased. I got 3 animals. I had to drive, of course, to FedEx Hub, pick them up, bring them home. I was attempting to do an unboxing video. My wife took off some time from work to facilitate that, but I was worried about her, needing to get back to her job so that I could start taking care of our daughter. Unfortunately, that caused me to miss a musculoskeletal issue with one of my females, Hathor, my female Arctic. I made a video about that. If you want to look back and find that, it's called I Made a Mistake. I'll link to all the videos I mentioned in the description below, but I didn't dedicate the proper amount of time to those animals when they were coming in to do a proper inspection. If I had picked up on that as soon as I got them, I could have reached out to the breeder and tried to address that early on. As it turns out, it was a month or 2 down the road when I found that. I thought it was something that had happened over time, and at that point didn't feel comfortable reaching out to the breeder. So make sure you have enough time for your animals and make sure that you're investing it wisely. They deserve 100% of your attention when you're trying to take care of those animals. So, third thing would be seek and share knowledge. I haven't kept snakes for 20 years. A lot of things have changed. Never kept Western Hognose. So it's been a big learning curve for me. Now I did go out before I got these animals, watched a lot of YouTube videos, Facebook groups, Instagram, Reddit, Discords, whatever you can join. Comment on people's posts, comment on their videos, get your name out there, get where people start recognizing you so that if you do have an issue down the road, they may be more willing to share their knowledge or answer your question or help you out along the way. I know over the course of this first year that I've been keeping snakes, very early on, I thought that my female Isis might have had some scale rot. I reached out to Jordan from Snakeful Grace. I don't own any animals from her, never purchased any animals from her. She was willing to share information. Later on down the road, when I was having problems with Osiris eating, reached out to Jeff Galewood, who is way too busy, but still took the time to answer my questions and help me out, provide information that has been very beneficial to me moving forward from that point. Most recently, had some issues with Isis dropping weight over the course of the last 3 months. Christina Jewell from Obscure Jewels on Facebook shared some information with me about beneficial bacteria and adding that to the diet of the animal, and Isis has started to make a turnaround from then. So seek out knowledge from people who have it, and if you have the knowledge and you're able and have the time, please share it. All I can do is make people better keepers, make them able to provide for their animals in a better way. And the last lesson I would say that I've learned over this course of this year is be patient. Be patient with yourself. When Osiris stopped eating, I got stressed. When Isis has been losing weight, got stressed. When I noticed the musculoskeletal thing on Hathor, got stressed, all because I didn't keep snakes for 20 plus years because I didn't want to keep animals if I couldn't provide for them in the best way possible. And so when those things happened, it caused me to feel like I was failing them and that maybe I should have never got back into snakes to begin with. So things are going to happen. It's just the way it is with people, with animals, with anything. Things are going to go wrong, you know. The only thing you can do is try to move forward from that point. As I said, just take a moment. Give yourself a little leeway. As long as you're trying to do the best thing for the animal and trying to do it in the best way possible, it's not necessarily going to be the end of the world. You can probably get through a lot of things if you're just patient and willing to try. So that would be it for lessons learned from my first year of 2024. Now for plans for 2025, got a lot on the table. First thing I'm going to be doing this year is incorporating an LLC. Not looking to turn this into a business full time. It's just a hobby, but I do want to keep any of the revenue I generate down the road from the reptile hobby separate from any personal revenue. And by incorporating an LLC, that allows me to do certain things with the expenses for all these animals, which we'll cover a little bit later on, how much money I've spent. I can carry forward 80% of my net operating losses for an indefinite period of time. If I have a business, if I have a sole proprietorship, it's a little bit different. So an LLC is going to be coming sometime in this year. After I get the LLC incorporated, I have a really good friend of mine who's an artist who is working on a custom art piece that he's going to get copyrighted, and then I'm going to license a modified version of that artwork to use as my logo. So there'll be a new logo coming somewhere down the road. After I get that logo, I do plan on offering a little bit of merchandise, shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, maybe keychains. We'll see. So that'll be coming this year. And then it looks like most of my animals, 2/3 of my animals, are on track to breed in 2026. So we'll be broodmating everybody for the first time in about 8 or 9 months come October, November of 2025. So that's what's on the table for right now. I'm still going to continue to make YouTube videos about once a month. Again, I didn't get into this to become a YouTuber. I was just hoping that by making these videos, maybe somebody could learn from the mistakes I've made and then maybe not make the same mistakes. So continue to make some of those to kind of chart my progress, let you guys know what's going on along the way. With that, the next two couple things I want to talk about are my finances and then status updates on all the animals. So,
All right, so finances. Here's a little representation of the money that I've spent over the course of the first year. As you can see, the grand total over there on the left-hand side, $4,390.17. The biggest part of that expense was the animals themselves. I went from 0 to 6. I did get my first animal December 17th of 2023. Picked up 3 more via Morph Market. They were delivered February 8th. And then the last 2 arrived May 1st. That number does include all shipping. And then my state requires a import permit for exotic animals. So that amount is included in that cost as well. So for 6 animals, less than $400 per animal. I don't have any very extreme morphs in my collection, no Swiss chocolates, no leucistics, and I did get a very, very good deal on 2 animals through a morph market auction. So your mileage may vary on the expense of your animals. For enclosure and tubs, I could probably reduce that amount by $150 to almost $200 if I had not went the DIY rack when I first started collecting animals. I tried to make a rack for myself just to make do in the meantime until I could get some commercial racks available. But if I just went straight with commercial racks, that number would be about $150 to $200 lower. I did pick up a second set of tubs to go into my animal plastics rack. It makes cleaning dramatically easier. And so for enclosures and tubs, I do have additional or extra tubs included in that amount. For heating and cooling, the next biggest expense, $300 of that is a beverage cooler that I will be using for brumation, and then $200 for a Herbstat 2 thermostat. So as far as expenses go, Your mileage will vary, things will fluctuate. I did have to spend some for medical, one vet visit, two fecal parasite labs, for memberships and subscriptions. That includes admissions and parking to local reptile expos when I was first getting started, looking at animals, picking up animals, getting my initial round of feeders. Um, Memberships and subscriptions also includes 1 year subscription to Husbandry Pro and a 1 year US ARC Bronze membership. So some of those things could vary for you. Moving forward in 2025, my biggest expense should probably be substrate and feeders or food, as I have pretty much everything already as far as equipment wise. 2 racks, like I said, the beverage cooler for brumation. I do need to make or purchase an incubator somewhere down the road. But that should give you an idea of what it's going to cost you to get started in your first year, at least with Western Hognose. So now let's look at some of the animals. All right, first up is Isis. First snake I got her December 17th, 2023 at an expo nearby. She was 16 grams when I got her, currently 30 grams. She gained 3 grams in the last month. I have had some issues with her on her feeding recently and dropping weight. I am pushing Benebac and Reptivite on all of her feeder items, and she did eat 4 out of 6 times last month. She ate 5 times, but she had a regurgitation. So she's been up and down throughout the year. Sporadic eating and the weight loss recently has been a big issue. But hopefully she can come around, continue to gain weight, and pull through. Next is Osiris. He arrived via FedEx shipment from a Morph Market purchase on February 8th. He weighed 18 grams. He's currently 30 grams and gained 7 grams in the last month. Ate every time. I am drop feeding him currently. You can look back at my last video to see some more information on that. He was a problematic feeder throughout most of the year. Tried a lot of different things to try to get him to eat, even going so far as to put him into short-term brumation. And when he came out of that and was still not eating, I went to force feeding him, offering him food. Then when he refused, I would force feed him a peaky head. Did that for a month. Reached out to Jeff Galewood, got some good advice, put that into practice, and it looks like Osiris is starting to make a turnaround and put on some weight. So much like Isis, hopefully he can continue to improve. Definitely not going to be breeding either of those two in 2026. Just trying to keep them healthy and keep them alive. So, next is Kepera. I received him on February 8th as well with a shipment via Morph Market purchase. He was 23 grams when he arrived, currently 45 grams, gained 4 grams in the last month. Nothing really to speak of with him, thankfully. He's been a fairly consistent eater, will miss sometimes, but I am offering food every 5 days, so he might not just be hungry. No issues with him. He's doing great. One of my best snakes to handle. So looking to breed him in 2026. Then we have Hathor, also received on February 8th, also by a Morph Market purchase. When I got her, she was 26 grams. She is currently 109 grams and gained 17 grams in the last month. Other than the musculoskeletal issue that I mentioned previously with her, and I have made other videos on, she's doing great. She's always got an attitude. She is always bluff striking, always hissy. No matter what I do, she's always got an attitude. So that's just her, but she's looking good. The vet said that she shouldn't have any problems with breeding based on the musculoskeletal issue and where it's at on her body. So going to be looking to breed her in 2026. Next up is Satesh. One of the last pair I received. This was the Morph Market auction that I won. They both arrived on May 1st. He was 16 grams when he arrived. He's currently 43 grams. Gained 3 grams within the last month. Again, no major issues with him, which is awesome. He has been hit or miss with his feeding sometimes, but again, I'm feeding once every 5 days. I think sometime in February or March, I'm going to go down to once a week for all the animals, just to give them a little bit more time to build up their appetite, or in the case of the larger snakes, more time to digest their prey items. So he's doing good. Looking to breed him in 2026. And the last snake we have here is Nephthys. She was received on May 1st. She came in at 18 grams, currently 101 grams, gained 27 grams within the last month. She is the only snake that has bit me. She has bit me 3 times. It's all been related to a feeding response. Her feeding response is off the wall. I mean, I can feed her. 3 days later, when I go to clean the cage, she's looking at my hand like, where's the food? She is a fantastic eater. I'm a little bit concerned when I go down to once every 7 days, how that's going to affect her as far as her like food aggression issue. But she's doing fantastic, beautiful snake. Definitely going to be looking to breed her in 2026 as well. So that's all for this video. Uh, it's been an interesting year. Looking forward to 2025. I appreciate you all taking the time to watch, and we'll see you in the next video.